Hello, this is Grillenheimer. Welcome back. I can't talk all of a sudden. For one, I've got this to where hopefully you can see me in the right perspective. Now, this is hard for me to say. I'm putting myself in a very vulnerable spot where I don't want to be. But it's been pressed upon my heart to do this. I don't want to. Oh, I don't want to. But this is a challenge, and I'm going to do it. Whether I really put this out or not is another story. At least I want to do it and hear what this sounds like. Okay. And we have to go back a long time ago, before I was even a preteen. I remember it was around first or second grade in my hometown and where I grew up. And a friend of my best friend and I, we came across a magazine in the middle of the street. And the magazine was all in pieces. It was all over the place. And we picked up to see what this was, and ended up being a girls' porno magazine. And we were both like, and we had heard that there was a girls' like club or something, like on the other side. We never saw these girls. We found this makeshift thing in the middle of the forest. Who knows what it was really for, but we put it in our minds that it was the girls getting together. And there could have been something to this. I can't remember. We did have some girls in our neighborhood. I mean, duh. That were not much older than us. They were a little older. But anyway, this was a dirty magazine for girls. And like I said, I was only in first, second grade. My best friend and I were like, whoa, we can look like this. Of course, we didn't look like that. But I think this all stems from that moment. And I ended up having an issue a little bit with penis envy. Duh, because of that stupid magazine. If I had not ever seen that magazine, it might have been a whole different story. Now, my best friend and I, we did a few stupid things together, learning about our bodies and whatnot. But at the same time, it wasn't, it was sexual, but it wasn't sexual. We weren't lovey on each other. We weren't kissing or doing anything stupid like that. We were touching ourselves, but that was it. That was the extent of it. Nothing stupid. And our bodies weren't even fully functional, if you get my drift. Like I said, we were not even a preteen yet. I did go through puberty earlier than I probably should have. When I was around 10 or 11, like 2 or 3 years earlier than normal, which is kind of normal for even kids nowadays, I think. And from that stemmed a bit of an issue in my mind, and we were not a church family. Remember, I'm putting a lot of my personal stuff out here right now, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But I'm being pressed to do this. I don't want to run away. I need to do what I'm told, and it's not easy. But we were not a church family. If you can tell from the transformers I'm making, we went to a lake. We had boats. We had boats like you wouldn't believe. And when we got tired of a boat, they traded it in, got a new one. We got tired of a sailboat, we traded it in, we got a new one. And it was a huge family ordeal to go be as a family at this lake and just have fun. On occasion, I had an aunt and uncle. They wouldn't show up all the time, maybe once every month, once every 2 months, because they actually went to church. And so they weren't there all the time, but they had a motorboat and they had the catamaran. Maybe I'm saying too much. But anyway, like I said, boats. And that was our religion, so to speak. That was our habits. That was our traditions. 4th of July, grandmother's homemade ice cream with real eggs in it, etc., etc. I mean, this was our norm. Oddly enough, I did learn a bit about God and Christ through my grandfather walking through the woods and spending time with my grandfather. Which was, I wouldn't, and picking muscadines and stuff here in the South, I wouldn't trade those memories for anything in the world. Anything in the world. But when I was younger and when I was a kid, both my parents worked full time. It felt like, now it wasn't this, I may be pulling out a point of view that wasn't fully true, because I was a little, as a kid, as a teenager, realities are skewed. If you don't understand the full extent of the full picture of what's going on around you. So I felt like my dad didn't have much to do with me. But he did. When I was in music, he was there. My parents were always there. When there was a function, they were there. He was videotaping. He loved me playing music. They really did. And gosh, I could go on. And he didn't want me playing music because he's like, oh, if you're going to play music, that means you're going to be gay, blah, 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 blah. And I kept my mouth shut. I am not gay. Let me explain that. What it comes down to is a same-sex attraction. But I have never done anything with anybody. I came close one time about maybe 20-something years ago with an acquaintance. But it's like something in me stopped me. It's like, no, you're not doing this. Remember your soul. And the other kid wasn't gay either. Nothing happened. We just sort of got giggly together. I don't know how that started. But that was just really stupid and dumb. But nothing happened. We just had a fun night watching anime, playing games, and he went home. That was it. But it was the demon of this that, like a snake, has twisted my heart to some extent. And I have realized throughout my maturity that that's what this is all about. It is when my relationship with Christ, which started, I thought, when I was around 6 or 7 years old. Probably didn't officially start until I was about 22 or 23. When I truly witnessed to a crowd and I was truly baptized. I simply asked him into my heart out of fear because I was at an uncle's funeral. And I was like, looking on Ancestry, I was 5, maybe 4. I didn't realize how young I was when he passed away, so I don't see how I can remember that. But the fear of his death and seeing his dead body just put the fear of God in me. And I did have a little Bible, the children's Bible. I still have it. It's falling apart. I just need to throw it out. And my mom would read to me to some extent out of the Bible. And we did go to a Methodist church back then, but it was very rare. And my dad and brother went kicking and screaming. But I really enjoyed it. I liked it. The Sunday school was fun. We started don't worry about that. And so over the years, I have realized, well, maybe I just like the male body. And then I realized, wait a minute. I like the male body with this aspect, and this aspect, and this aspect. Wait a minute. I'm thinking about myself. Am I thinking about how I want to look? Am I this selfish? And I knew I was selfish as a teenager. And I'm thinking, am I this vain that I just basically am in love with myself? So therefore, the penis envy was really turning into self-love. Get where I'm coming from? This demon was acting and twisting in my heart and soul and saying, you want this more than anything. I want you away from God. This relationship has got to stop. And I kept pulling away and pulling away and pulling away and going to God. So by the time I ended up being baptized when I'm going to say, actually, I was probably, when did my grandmother pass away? I was probably 20 years old. I think I was 20. I wasn't 22, I was about 20. And so when I truly asked him into my heart, was baptized, actually the church my aunt and uncle went to, which is not where we were going. That's a story for another time. That some things really started to change. And that was a long time ago. And once you open up that relationship, whatever faith you had, no matter how small, is like a mustard seed. It starts to grow. And when you start reading the Word and you start getting closer with God, your faith starts to grow. The stronger your faith is, the stronger you are to be able to pack down and keep these sinful emotions away. That's what this is all about. I wish I had a verse ready with me, but I don't. I apologize. And I've been through a lot, a different profession or two throughout the years. I started in the career that my degree was for. I will not say it did not work out. I actually chose not to continue because I didn't want to have to travel again. I didn't have the money to move, and the available jobs were not in the city I was in at the time. And I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I just want to stay where I'm at. And when I did my testimony in my Sunday school, I had a certain timeline, and I went through this timeline. And I didn't prepare, and I did not mention this stuff in my Sunday school. I was afraid, and I shouldn't have been. But and I really didn't want, I just said I went to a dark place. Okay, and I did. But it wasn't that dark. It was just in my mind. So when I'm up there in front of our Sunday school, going over my life and the events in my life And in order to explain one event, I had to go back some, and then I continue. I'm noticing God's hand in my life and how I was directed to where I am now. I was never in control. I may have made the choices, but His will made it so that I got to a certain point. And even when I was up there, my wife was like, "Are you okay?" Afterwards. And I said, "Yeah, I wish somebody had recorded that because..." And then afterwards, someone goes, "Boy, you were lucky." I'm like, "No, I wasn't lucky. I had Christ with me the whole time." And that's why some of the stupid things that I did in my life didn't come to fruition, because it was not God's will. I did not die in a car wreck because of this. I didn't go off the edge of the road because of Christ in my heart. I have been watched like you wouldn't believe. Many, many times I have probably been at the brush of death and knew it, and it didn't happen. I think I may have drowned. Like I said, think. Actually, I think I really did. And if I had an NDE, I have no recollection of it. And I wish... And again, that was around that same period that we may have found that magazine. So it could have been a distressful NDE that I have pushed back that I don't remember. Because I went onto Google Maps to see if there was a certain apartment complex, and to see if that pool was there, and that pool was there exactly in my mind that I remembered. And I'm like, okay, this couldn't have been on TV because this exact pool is still here. It's covered up, but it's there, and it's exactly how I remember. So maybe it did happen. It's the strangest thing. And I looked this up on Google Maps earlier this year for confirmation. You know, could I have really drowned? Did that really happen? I was like 7 or 8 years old. I don't think my parents even know. My best friend's mother took us out there one summer just to get us wet and go to a pool. Because I remember questioning my parents, and they're like, "We don't remember you doing that. No one told us you drowned. Yeah, you that happened on TV, and you thought it happened to you." I'm like, okay. And along those lines, before I say I've asked Him into my heart twice, and that's possibly very true, but it can really only happen once. And we are saved not by our actions, because we can't boast on it. So we can't boast about us being saved. All of us can be saved with thanks from His wonderful grace. He loves us. Before that happened, I had an attraction to somebody, and I scared him to death. I won't say how or why. He lives in another state. And this opened up a can of worms, because at the time I actually took a verse from the Bible and took it literally. It's saying, oh gosh, I should have had that prepared. If you have not a grievance, but something with your brother, you should go and tell them and ask forgiveness or something to some that effect. And I did. Oh my gosh, that opened a whole can of worms. And I would not say it was a coming out of the closet moment or anything crap like that, but that's when my parents found out what my issue was, and they thought I was gay, but I wasn't. I'm not really gay. I'm not bi. If you want to put a label on me, that's you putting a label on me, and I don't appreciate that. Because our attractions, you think you're born with, but you're not. They are the makeup of our maturity and our spiritual maturity and where we are with Christ. And when we lack that relationship, other things can grow in our heart based on what we've experienced and seen around us as kids and from those years. Whether you were raped, sodomized, seen crap, seen things, whatever. Whether if you're in a broken home or a family member has abused you, if you don't have a dad, if your father is lacking a relationship with you, gaps are going to be filled through your life with sin. This is how the demons work. Yeah, you probably already labeled me a crazy person. That's fine, whatever. You're going to label me however you want to because you are the labeler. This is how we have been taught on a worldly level to organize people in boxes, in files. Oh, that they're an idiot. Oh, that person's gay. Oh, that person is rich. Oh, that person's poor. Oh, that person's homeless. Oh, this person is black. Oh, this person is white. Oh, that person is red and yellow and purple and that's a one-eyed purple people eater over there. Label, 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 label. We have to put labels on everything and everybody. Even tuba rooms and the tuba room light switch. We got to put labels on everything. Maybe that's what he was being illustrative about. Interesting. Anyway, and we overdo it because we want to be so organized. We want to divide ourselves. We got to stop dividing ourselves. For one, we need to be a unit. We need to simply just love each other. Platonic love, godly love, unconditional love. And so many people mix that up with worldly love. And when that happens, the worldly demons can get into us. And let me tell you something. I believe these spirits, these alternate spirits, grow. And they've been growing for eons. And they're all around us. And I believe that the one that I have or had is now in one of my children. And I'm trying to figure out how to deal with it. And all I can do is bite my tongue because I can't tell the truth. I am being blocked in more ways than you can ever imagine. Where you're just like, well, Grillenheimer, you're the father. Just tell her. Tell her about your life. Tell her, tell her, tell her. This isn't the time. I will end up telling her. I will. But timing is key, and this was the time for this video. There is a time for everything. After doing my own testimony at my church, I have realized, and listening to others as well, that God's will is all about the timing. Things will happen when they need to be done. And it's all about us having a relationship with Him. And you have to believe Him. You have to believe me. That this spiritual reality may not be a reality we can immediately see, but it's all around us. I've got to go. I've got to go to work. But this is all I've had today, this morning. Thank you for watching. And again, with faith, with trust in God, believing in Him. And that's what all my videos have been about, has been sharing my faith. Whether I understand the Bible or not. And I don't know it as well as I should. Because again, I didn't grow up on this stuff. I'm fairly new to it. But my faith is strong enough to be able to fight this crap. If I can fight it, anyone else can too. Because I'm not the strongest person around. I ain't no man-child. Yeah, I like games. Yeah, I like having fun. I like getting outside and doing stuff. But my health is going down. We don't get any younger. I'm diabetic. If you've seen what followed me all this time, yeah, I'm now diabetic. You go back to some of my first videos, I was huge. I was pushing 300 pounds. I'm now keeping it under 190. I don't want to get any bigger. I don't want to get like that again. And I've got other health issues that are complicated. I might get into that on another video. I don't know. We'll see. But we have to keep our faith. We have to believe Him. We have to believe that Jesus was a real person. He was the Son of God. We have to believe His gospel, that He came down for our sake. That it was another timing of God's timeline for our salvation. That His teachings, His death, His resurrection was all key to helping save all of us. Forget the labels of Jew, Gentile, Israelites, Canaanites, whatever of the Bible. He wants to save us all. Jesus used those labels because in the terms, in the races for back then, to help explain and tell the story of these words don't matter anymore. You have to just love yourself as you want to be loved by your neighbor. Love your neighbor as you would want to love yourself. It's that simple. This is the new commandment. Or a new commandment. He gave us a lot of new laws. And they're so simple. It's just that simple. I've gone on too long as it is already. But just think about, I have put my personal testimony out here now for anyone to see. I'm still debating about this, if it goes up or not. I want to hear how this sounds first and see how I've presented this. I've got to check my time. And like I said, I got to go to work. But this may have been the time for this. Think about your own sins. With Christ's love and your faith with Him, when it increases, when we exercise that part of our spirit, new things can happen. It's a new chapter in our life. And you will be amazed. You may not see the face of Jesus. You may not see the face of God or see His feet. You may not be enveloped in a mist. You're not going to talk to a burning bush. But He's with us. You start hearing Him. the more we pray, the stronger we believe, we hear him. We just have to learn to listen. And there's some other YouTube videos about that also, believe it or not. So with that, hopefully I will have these something else new, continuing my God is Consistent series, which I've been enjoying. When the Transformer cards are done, which they're coming along quite good, quite well. They're looking really nice. I'm still not done with them. I want to, like I said, I want to reveal them when they're done. That takes me all summer. That takes me all summer. And you will see the collection of the boat characters all together. If I still haven't finished the bass boat. I think I found a name for him, and I finally found a name for the Toyota Highlander. The coloring is wrong. I'm keeping the color for the car, but I'm going to try to get his color right on the robot mode, so he'll look like two different colors on the card. Oh well, when you flip it, but not a big deal. It's just a character card that I'm making to have, I guess. I don't know. But thank you. If you've gotten to the end of this video, congratulations. You won nothing. You won my patience. So with that, read the word of the Lord. It's right there in front of you. It's either in your phone or you got a Bible nearby. And probably the best gospel, the best book of the Bible that has the most wisdom in it, I would say is John, the Gospel of John. But Proverbs are all very good. I love the Psalms, Hebrews and Ephesians, Philippians. God, I mean, every book of the Bible has something that we can take away from it. Every book of the Bible has something we can take away from it. Even we have found that the most boring book of the Bible that goes through all the names, we have found out the names of all the people almost spill out a sentence and points it directly to Jesus. We are still finding secrets in the original Hebrew, in the original language, that are lost on our translated Bibles. It's simply staggering. It's amazing. It's the hand of God, whether you want to believe it or not. The more you look, the more you research, the more you see, the more you're like, this really has to be the hand of God. And it's also how those people memorized the Old Testament. They knew it. The Jews of old, before Jesus was born, that's how they had the stuff written out. They had it on parchment. Moses, wrote most of the Old Testament, but at the same time, they had this stuff memorized. They went over it daily. When they were being actually righteous to God. When they weren't, that was a different story. That's when things, bad things happened. So let me end. Have a blessed day. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you.